Alright, it is day 12 of my not masturbating, and a lot of the worst symptoms are kind of behind me these days. So for example, early on when I quit masturbating, I think there's only been one or two other times I've gone this far. I've attempted to quit masturbating quite a few times, especially this year. But early on I had trouble sleeping. I would toss and turn, and a few times I caved and gave in when I tossed and turned. And then as soon as I would cave in, I would sleep like a rock, and then I would wake up and regret caving in, because I would think, had I just hung in there a couple more minutes, right, 5-10 minutes, however long it took me to sleep after I caved, right, I would always kick myself. I think the fact that I kicked myself so many times in the past is a big reason why I made it this far. The other thing I love about not masturbating is that because not masturbating has been such a big challenge for me, it makes other things that are challenging a lot more mild by comparison. So I talked about some social aspects at work that I run into trouble with. I had a bully boss. I found some other work this past month, and I wanted to make sure my relationship with my new boss didn't turn out that way. I was trying to think about what I did wrong. And I think the main thing I did wrong at my last job was I let out too much information about myself, and I didn't collect enough information from him. So I learned to be more active in listening. And one thing I really loved was that I have a hard time with silence, right? I say something, I ask my boss for some vacation, and I don't give him enough time to digest it, and then I start blabbing about what I want to do on vacation. Hey boss, do you think I could have October 24th off? And then I give him like 10 seconds of silence for him to blab. He starts with, no, well, these students need that. Silence. And then he blabs on, well, we could do it this way. Right? And I've gotten a lot more comfortable with that with my boss. The other thing I have to be careful with my new boss with is whether or not I want to let him know about my sexual identity. He knows I'm single, but I think it's working to my benefit because he thinks that I'm going out there to network with the right people, when in reality I'm going out there to enjoy my solo sexual life. Now, if he knew that I was wanting vacation to go to Idaho alone, to go to a computer Olympiad conference, I think a lot of that accommodation would evaporate. He would be like, you're wasting your time, right? I don't know. I don't know him enough to know whether or not it's a good time to bring that up. The point is that I want information to flow both ways, but more so especially from him to me, rather than the other way around. And that's a big challenge for me because I love to talk. I mean, if you add up all of the YouTube videos I've ever made, how many hours there? Keeping in mind that oftentimes it's more than one take, right? I probably have months worth of videos from start to finish. I've never really added it up, but you get the idea. But ever since I quit masturbating, and I've gotten used to the idea that sometimes things have to hang in midair, right? Oftentimes there are times where I'd love to be masturbating, and I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't think of anything else, and things seem to just float in midair, kind of like you're stuck at the top of a roller coaster. And I've gotten used to that idea. Other things that are less than pleasant to do, I can kind of handle as well, right? The other thing I love is that, so it's been 12 days. These last 12 days have felt like the longest 12 days in my life. And it's making my summer feel really, really long, which I love, by the way. Much rather love this than to have a winter feel really, really long, right? By the time I make it to winter and I'm used to it, oh my God, that will fly right by, right? Because not masturbating will be the norm, right? But, so to give you an idea, earlier this month when I started the job, I was thinking to myself, because I work there 4 days a week, but I was hoping to fly to Phoenix to go see a friend sometime, and I thought for sure I would need to call off for 2 of those days. Now, this is a gig work. We really don't have vacation time. So I was debating with myself, how am I going to fake some kind of issue to call off for 2 days? My immediate first thought was maybe I'll start acting a little bit under the weather one of these days, and then the next day, oh my God, I tested positive for COVID. But then I realized that's not a good idea, because then other people might panic. And then I thought, my boss, he didn't ask me for proof of vaccines, and oftentimes he doesn't wear a mask. So he's not terribly concerned about COVID. He might even be slightly anti-vax, right? And so I thought to myself, maybe I can tell him that I had a bad vaccine reaction. But then I realized if he really is anti-vax, he might take that the wrong way. Not to mention, I don't want to advertise something that I'm against. And so I tried active listening to him to see what matters most to him. He loves his family. He belongs to a church. And then I thought to myself, maybe a personal family matter, right? Got to go home to my family. That's been a personal issue. And I don't think he would dig too much if I said that. And so that's what I settled on. Now, having thought about that, the following Monday I went to work, and then by Tuesday I was thinking, I don't want to take that trip to Phoenix. I love the students, and I love how my boss doesn't judge me. Although I do have to think about when it's a good idea to let them know about my personal philosophy and sexual orientation. I haven't really shared that just yet. I'll have to think about that. Now, there is one problem with not masturbating. I find that I've developed a strange replacement addiction. See, one way I get around not masturbating is by drinking a lot of fluids. When my bladder is out of control, it's impossible to even think about masturbating. The problem is I've kind of developed a drinking problem where I drink 3, 4, 5 gallons of fluids a day, oftentimes, right? The other day, on my way to Ellensburg, I had to pull over to go to the bathroom several times, and it was really distracting my driving, and I remember thinking it was like I was drinking and driving, right? Because I love urinating now, because urinating has a similar pleasure to masturbating. It doesn't feel as sinful, though, because everybody does it, right? I mean, I'd rather... at the office, if I have to go to the bathroom a few extra times to urinate, that's preferable to being in the bathroom masturbating for sure, right? And it's not nearly as disgusting, right? I don't smell from it, right? Anyway, I hope to cut down on the drinking problem as well now. Also, it's going to be a big problem, well, for my friend in Phoenix. I celebrate Yom Kippur with her, so I'll definitely have to cut to take a break from the drinking problems, right? Anyway, so I go 12 days, but it feels more like 12 weeks, and it's making the summer last forever. It's making other problems seem minor by comparison, and I got a little bit of a drinking problem, and I almost got into a car accident as a result.